I'm Brian Van, SportBikeTracker.com. Today we're going to install a set of driven D-Access grips on our 2017 STG Yamaha R6 project bike. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to install grips. You can cut off the factory grips. You can roll off the factory grips. Or, if you happen to have an air compressor, you can get a little compressed air between the grip and the controls. It inflates and allows you to pull it off. It basically breaks the seal. When they install these grips from the factory, they use just a small amount of grip glue, and you can see that in there. Not a ton, just a little bit. It really doesn't take much to hold it in place. Some people like to use hairspray. I've heard all kinds of stuff. Myself, I use grip glue because I do not want my grips sliding around on the controls. So the method we're going to talk about today is that. Okay, a couple of quick pointers with the grips. Two different size inner diameters. The one with the larger hole is going to be for the throttle side. Remember, the clip-ons have the same outer diameter. When you put the throttle tube on top, of course, that increases the size of the hole for the grip to go over it. When you're using grip glue, it's also really important, especially on your throttle side, okay, to make sure you don't use an inordinate amount. Get it all over the place so it ends up maybe up in the throttle housing, or it gets wedged between the actual throttle tube and the clip-on itself. Those are both bad situations. You need to make sure when you're done that your throttle operation is completely free and it does not stick in any position at all. That creates an unsafe condition. The R6 comes with this spacer that goes between the grip and the throttle housing. You want to make sure that you leave that on there, okay? Effectively, the reason that's there is if the tolerance between the grip, which is rubber, and the housing is a little too tight, this is going to help to prevent that from sticking. You can see I've got the grip glue on this old screwdriver. I go ahead and wipe it around. It's really important you get that leading edge wet because that's where everything starts. Okay? Get that on there. Once you begin this process, you got to move quickly, because once that glue grabs hold, it's going to make it a lot tougher. So go ahead and get it started, and then just keep driving it on there until you have it into position. You can see that I've got it lined up nicely so that the driven logo is towards the top. Just want to keep it moving. If you use more grip glue, it lubricates better, and the process is going to go a lot easier. You also, if you do that, end up with a lot of excess to clean up, and it increases the possibility of the throttle sticking, which is the last thing that we want to do. Take your time now. Let's get this thing positioned nicely. Continue to work it around until you have it exactly where you want it. Okay, now that I've got it in position, I'm going to go ahead and loosen up the throttle housing because I want to slide it down off the clip-on just a little bit so I can clean any of the excess glue that is in the vicinity where the throttle tube and the clip-on intersect. All you have to do is loosen up these two Allen heads here enough that you can get it to jump over the locating hole that's beneath, just like that. I'm going to grab a rag. and clean off any of the excess glue. You want to make sure too, you don't ride the bike. I usually let them sit overnight. It's kind of what I shoot for. Because if you get on the motorcycle and start riding when the grip glue is still wet or tacky, the grips are going to slide around. Once you have the excess cleaned, take a look inside the throttle tube and make sure it's perfectly clean. Okay, once you've verified you're good to go there, slide this back into position. Make sure you get the locating tab back into its resting point. Now we'll snug up the fasteners on the throttle tube. This is the most important side over here. If you're going to make a mistake, make it on the clutch side, not the throttle side. This thing needs to be absolutely perfect when you're done. If there's any binding, I think it's common sense that you are creating a very unsafe situation for yourself. Grab that OE bar end. Reinstall that, like so. And then now just take a look and see where everything landed. You don't want any binding against the bar end or the throttle housing. Okay, now we're over to the easy side. Start off with our bar end. Okay, now we're ready to go on the clutch side. Like I stated earlier, this is a whole bunch easier over here. Let's get our grip glue. Kind of work that around. That leading edge is really the most important part. It has to be lubricated and it'll help really spread that around as you slide it on. Just like the other side, just keep it moving until you have it all the way into position. OE bar end. Now remember, it's really important if you went the grip glue route, you want to give that time to dry. If you go out and just start ripping on it right now, odds are the grips are going to move around. And for these to look and perform, you want them to dry in place, especially on this side, the throttle side. I can't tell you how important it is that you do not put yourself in a scenario where this can bind at all, okay? You'll see we've got a little extra space here between the end of the grip and the bar, and you know what? I want it that way on purpose. We could have cheated the grip a little bit off the end, but I don't want to do anything that could create a condition where this would stick in the slightest. There you have it. There's some grip 101. Also showing you how bitchin' these look on the 2017 STG R6 project bike.